Hey guys, today I want to give you my hot take on perfectionism, which is this. You know what? Be a perfectionist. Here's why. What we call perfectionism always starts with a gap. It's a gap between what you see in front of you and what you imagine could be. You see a clunky presentation. You imagine a clear, concise, compelling presentation. You see a messy kitchen. You imagine clean surfaces and everything neatly put away. You see an inefficient process, and you imagine things working smoothly and efficiently. This gap between what you see and what you imagine is not a problem. A lot of people try to solve perfectionism by lowering their standards and making peace with the fact that things will never be perfect. But doing this also cuts off your imagination and tells you to stop envisioning a better way of doing things. The problem is not in the gap. The gap between what you see and what you imagine is neutral. It's like saying, here's the number 2000, here's the number 3000. Between those two numbers, there's a gap of 1000. Okay, that's just a fact. It doesn't mean anything on its own. The problem is in what you think about the gap. It's in the meaning that your brain gives to the gap. Because gaps don't have any meaning or emotion inside of them inherently. It's your brain that comes along and gives a gap a meaning and an emotion. So when people say, I don't want to be such a perfectionist, it's usually because they're attaching stressful meanings to the gaps that they see around them. They're looking at a totally neutral gap, and their automatic brain is instantaneously making that gap mean I'm not good enough. And when you make a gap mean I'm not good enough, you will feel stressed and urgent and frazzled. And when you feel stressed and urgent, you will work frantically to close the gap as fast as possible. And working frantically will probably cause you to not do the best possible job of closing that gap. And then you'll still be kind of stressed and frazzled because you're not that happy with the work that you did. And none of this happened because of the gap. The gap did not make you feel stressed. The gap did not make you work frantically. The gap did not cause you to not do your best work. And the gap didn't leave you with lingering stress afterward. This whole sequence of events started with your automatic thoughts about the gap. Because the reality is, you don't want to give up your high standards, your sharp imagination, or your ability to envision a better way of doing things. You just want to give up the stress, the urgency, and the frantic working. And the best way to have high standards without feeling stressed about them is to change your relationship with the gap. Because the gap is neutral. You can think anything about it that you want to. You don't have to look at it and think this gap means I'm not good enough. That's just the first interpretation that your automatic brain is giving you. It's not objectively true. It's just one interpretation. Here's some things you could also think about a gap. You could think, this is perfect. I love closing gaps. I am so excited that I get to close another gap today. You could think, this is fun. Figuring out how to bridge this gap is a puzzle that I can get absorbed in. You could think, This is an opportunity for me to practice being the kind of person that I want to be. How does that person handle gaps? Or you could think, I'm in exactly the right place, solving exactly the right problem. Time to get into flow. Or literally anything else. The gap is a neutral canvas. It's up to you to decide what you want to make it mean and what you want to do with it. For example, take Marie Kondo. She's a world famous professional organizer who loves mess. She can hold incredibly high standards for home organization and find fun and enjoyment in the process of cleaning up a home because she has a fun and enjoyable relationship with the gap. To her, the gap is not a problem. Instead, the gap is an entry point to joy, flow, fun, flexing her unique genius, and helping the people that she wants to help. Now, if you want to build up your own helpful, effective, and fun relationship with the gap, because these thoughts here are really good suggestions, but you can also build the mindset that resonates the most with you. And then, if you want to actually implement that mindset in every place in your life, because you can't think it just once while you listen to this video, you have to build up the habit of thinking this way about gaps consistently. And then, if you want to troubleshoot that implementation until it's rock solid and fully embedded in your psyche, because there will be ups and downs. Your brain is going to fight you just a little bit, and nothing is going wrong when that happens. You just have to problem solve through it. If all of that sounds like exactly the kind of work that you want and need, then get on the waitlist for my 2023 course and coaching program. It's called From Imposter to I Got This, the high stress, high achievers step-by-step guide to eliminate work stress and imposter syndrome, get clear and get moving on their next career step, and create a life they love living. Go to the link above to join the waitlist.